Although the Canadian government has promised to address our deteriorating national defense, Ottawa has done nothing of substance regarding our vast north. Similarly, the government has largely ignored its promises to modernize its North American Aerospace Defense Command. The Trump administration is right to complain that Canada's defensive readiness is unacceptable. Communist China and an increasingly aggressive Russia are formidable foes, both very interested in the North. Ominously, they have recently partnered with each other in a friendship without limits. It's possible they might collaborate on joint plans for military and commercial exploitation of the North. After all, shipping on a large scale through the Northwest Passage might be possible in the not-so-distant future. The Northwest Passage could cut shipping distances drastically, saving huge amounts of money and fuel. Future passage from Asia to Europe via this northern sea route has incredible strategic, military and commercial value for Russia and China. Control of this route may determine who prevails in future geopolitical battles. Russia is far ahead of Canada on northern strategy and development. It has at least 40 ships capable of breaking through ice, including 8 nuclear-powered icebreakers. Canada has no icebreakers that are nuclear-powered, and recent promises to build 2 are years away from fruition. If CCP control of the Panama Canal is an important issue to the Americans, control of the Northwest Passage can't be far behind. This helps explain Trump's offer to buy Greenland. After all, Denmark has assured the Greenlanders that they can become independent with a simple vote. There are only 56,000 Greenlanders, and $56 billion would make each one a millionaire. That is a small sum for China and Russia, and a tempting offer for the inhabitants. Is it not possible that America wants to get to Greenlanders with an offer first? A more likely possibility is that Chinese Communist Party-controlled corporations will make attractive offers to Greenland's inhabitants as part of the Belt and Road Initiative. Whereas Europeans once built empires by waving attractive trinkets in the faces of poor natives, today's Chinese businessmen are doing essentially the same thing in today's developing world. Trump probably has many of the same concerns about the vast, largely undefended Canadian Arctic. Like Greenland, Canada's semi-autonomous territory of Nunavut is large in size, low in population, and rich in natural resources, particularly natural gas. Nunavut's population of 38,000 consists mainly of poor Inuit people. A 2024 agreement with Ottawa devolved to its territorial government responsibilities over lands, resource management, and rights in respect to waters. The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples has become law in Canada, and Indigenous people in semi-autonomous territories might assert tribal law to trump other laws. Canada's Supreme Court has already held that tribal law cancels charter protections in some cases, and even held that Indigenous people who are not Canadian citizens and do not live in Canada can have rights to Canadian resources. Canada's Foreign Interference Commission has been clear that foreign actors try to exploit Indigenous communities. What if Nunavut decides that their consent is required to use the passage, perhaps even for Canadian vessels? Or worse, what if they offer consent to China and Russia instead due to some financial incentives? In British Columbia, Haida Gwaii, formerly called the Queen Charlotte Islands, looks poised to gain a status similar to Nunavut. The provincial government also seems determined to give other parts of the province over to the many First Nations who live there. Each would presumably be able to make their own laws, and make commercial agreements with whomever they choose, including CCP-controlled corporations. It's even possible such plans are in the works already. Canada also closes its eyes to human smuggling on semi-autonomous Mohawk border reserves. Americans see their security being compromised. A federal election is in the offing. A prime minister will be chosen. His or her new government will negotiate agreements with the United States that will undoubtedly involve things we should have done long ago: enhancing our northern defense, meeting our NATO commitments, and rebuilding our dilapidated armed forces. Our political leaders must do a major rethink on all matters relating to North American security. No American president would even think of giving away sovereignty as Canada has done so casually. It's high time that Canada work closely with Indigenous communities to strengthen Arctic defense, ensuring that all regions remain integrated within a unified security framework.